welcome back to Crimson Grey, Yonder's story tale. Just having a drink. Right, where did I get to? John, how are you? ... I'm going to let you go tomorrow. Really? You aren't worried I'd tell someone? I am. If you told someone, it would hurt me so much. But I can't hold you here forever. That's what marriage is. I want to keep you here forever, but I want you to choose to stay with me even more. That would be best. I see. You're not happy. After all this, do you really expect my emotions to be simple? Do you hate me? No, I don't think so. That is good, but I want more than that. I know, but you're going to have to wait. You can't rush a relationship by forcing it. I know. Next time you can choose when to ask me out, okay? Okay. His remaining time in the basement passed easily, almost casually. They didn't speak much about what was coming, and especially not about what had happened. They watched 2 more movies, chatted about simple things, finished up their last of their vacation homework, and on Sunday, Lizzie appeared in silence and unlocked the chain and kept him bound. In silence and unlocked the chain that kept him bound to the table. He stared at her and wished he could find something to say, but his mouth was too dry to speak. God damn it, I saw that. Okay. Eventually he left. He thought he might have seen a glimmer of tears in her eyes, but it might have been his imagination. The entire ride back he tried to think about his experience, but couldn't even begin to grasp everything that had happened. When John got home, he found the door undamaged. The entire house didn't look so different, as if it had been abandoned for 9 days. There has only a single message on the answering machine. His father saying that he was going on a company vacation. Bastard. He hadn't even noticed that John was gone. None of his friends had called. He had been taken out of the world and no one had even noticed. The only person who had cared was Lizzie, but she wasn't there with him now, and there were still too many emotions to sort through with her. John sat down on the couch and simply felt numb. He fell asleep there, and uncertain amount of time later, he slept and did not dream. In the morning, John felt surprisingly refreshed. He made sure to take the meds that Lizzie had sent with him, since they seemed to have worked well so far. When he went to school, he would have to ask Miss Smith her opinions, because despite the absurdity of it all, they were still going to have to go to school. Lizzie wasn't waiting for him outside his house, which was probably a good thing. He decided to walk to school in the crisp air, gave him time to focus. Not that he reached any profound conclusions, but by the time he reached school, he had at least felt reasonably okay. He didn't spot Lizzie at all, but when he opened his locker, he discovered a folded note in the center. Good morning, John. Oh, so sweet, but still, It said good morning, John, surrounded by hearts. Despite himself, John smiled a little. When he looked up, he saw Lizzie around a nearby corner, and she smiled back before vanishing. He drifted through several classes today. He wasn't too different from the other students, since they were all back from vacation and on focus. None of the teachers tried to make them do very much. After school, he headed to Miss Smith's office, not entirely sure what he was going to say after so long away. However, he definitely felt like he could use some counselling. "Ah, John, I hope you had a good vacation." "It was okay. You?" "Spent the entire time working. I'm afraid I'm actually tried to call you, but it seems you weren't home." But there was no message. "Yeah, I was busy, sorry." "Oh, it's fine. I just hope that you haven't lost any of our progress. Why don't you lie down and we can get started right away?" He got onto the couch, but things didn't go as smoothly as usual. Miss Smith was doing her best, but he just couldn't concentrate. It didn't take a genius to know the reason. He needed to decide exactly what he was going to do. If he wanted protection from the police, this would be his best chance to ask for it secretly. Hell no. Or even if he skipped some details, Miss Smith might be able to provide help of some kind. Or maybe he shouldn't tell her anything. It had all worked out for the best, hadn't it? Something on your mind, John? I don't know. This vacation was weird. I felt okay. Not great, but okay. Were you able to take a trip with your family? A change of scene might have done you some good. Nah, we didn't do anything, but I guess a few things have changed for me lately. Maybe you're right. Apparently Miss Smith thought he was doing better because she ended their session early and let him go home. On his way out, he spotted Lizzie watching him from the shadows. He smiled at her and she smiled back, but that was all. And for now, that was enough. John started walking. The school year got away from him a little. Despite everything he had been through, John found himself returning to something like a routine. He spent some time with Lizzie, but they didn't do anything too intense, just shorter, fun dates, nothing too romantic. They still looked very grey to him, but he felt lighter than he had in a long time. On occasion, he still headed to the library to try look up more about Koitek, see if he could find out more about Lizzie's condition. It wasn't going terribly well. All he had to go on was old microfilms and random ideas, which was part of why he brought Lizzie, but she seemed uninterested. Eventually, he sat back and tapped his fingers on the desk, wondering if it was worth continuing. "Lizzie, when I was at your house, you made some pretty strong statements about Koitek. Do you know anything about them?" "No, I'm sorry, John. I can't really help you. It's just a feeling, a strong feeling, not as strong as the sense that you were the one I was looking for, but I'm certain they don't want what's best." "Sure, but does any corporation? This is different." After that, though, she couldn't explain herself any further. Seeing she didn't like the topic of conversation, John decided to let it go. "It's not like we can learn anything meaningful about them. I mean, we're just a couple of kids. It's not like their secrets will be printed in the local paper. Guys, you're 18. You're like young adults. We can leave it. We have more immediate concerns, don't we?" "Yes, actually, I had something I've been wanting to ask you. The country fair is coming up next month. Can we go together?" "Oh, come on!" "Well, I've always thought it was kind of a cheap event, but maybe it wouldn't be so bad with you." "Yay! I look forward to it." It was only later that John remembered something. Some of his classmates had said elementary schoolers went to the fair to play games, middle schoolers went to the roller coasters, and high schoolers went to get laid. Was that what Lizzie had been meaning to imply? Had he just signed up for more than he had realised? But over the next several days, she didn't act any differently, and just seemed to look forward to it with innocent and damn it, the word's in my mind, I just can't say it. Anticipation. There we go. So it felt awkward to bring it up, and the longer he didn't mention it, the stranger it got. And so day by day they eventually reached the date of the county fair. Lizzie met him at the edge of the fair, shifting from foot to foot eagerly. Her face lit up when she saw him, and she immediately hurried to meet him. "Oh, you're finally here. This is going to be so much fun. I'm glad to spend time with you, but honestly, I haven't gotten to the fair in a few years." "Oh, I'm sure we'll have fun. Besides, the important thing is that people will see us together." Ha! What? Dating doesn't really count unless a guy is willing to go to the fair with you. Guys don't talk like that. Huh? Counts unless a guy is willing to go to the fair with you. Okay. No, but I'm happy to be seen with you. Yay, let's go see what all they have. For a while, they just wandered checking out all the attractions. Since the fair was still getting started up, it was easy to grab some food and cotton candy. I haven't had cotton candy in ages. Which literally happily fed him pieces of while they walked. Thinking about what being there together meant for her, John realised that he didn't mind after everything they had been through. Boyfriend and girlfriend felt like cheap words. He felt like the hardest stretch had to be behind them. He'd seen Lizzie at her worst. He would be happy to be with her at her best. Oh, is that a knife throwing booth? Oh, Jesus Christ. But we don't have to visit. Come on, let's go this way. Instead, Lizzie's directed them towards a high... Jesus, why has my reading got bad just now? Instead, Lizzie directed them towards a high striker booth. John kind of marvelled at it. He'd seen them in pictures, but he hadn't been sure that they actually existed anymore. Some classmates he barely recognised were trying their luck at the moment, swinging a hammer high over their heads and bringing it down onto the target as hard as they could. None of them got the slider more than halfway to the bell. Hee, John, try it! Oh, Jesus, man, is there even any point? I'm going to suck. Oh, but try! Giving in, he instead inserted a coin, just lifted the hammer. Felt almost too heavy for him, but Lizzie was watching, and so he couldn't give up. John brought the hammer down as best as he could. It felt like a strong blow, but the slider barely moved up a quarter of the distance. Some of his watching classmates laughed. See, I'm pathetic. No, you just haven't learned how to use your strength. Here, let me help you. She slid up behind him, wrapped her arms around his, and changed his grip of the hammer. With her body so close against his, the watching classmates stopped laughing. See, you need to throw your body into it. So set your feet like this, shift your hips a little. He felt a little like a doll being moved by her like that. But the pose she put him into did feel better. More of his body would be behind the swing now. Good, now try again. She backed away and John took a deep breath. If he sucked again, he was going to feel absolutely worthless, but no, he couldn't let himself think that. Instead, he brought the hammer down as hard as he could. To his surprise, he actually made it most of the way up. It didn't ring the bell, but it was better than he'd seen anyone else do. See? Good job! She seemed absolutely elated, even just with his mildly improved performance. But despite himself, John found that his mood was improved. They walked away together, ignoring the watchers entirely. I'm surprised you know so much about this kind of thing. Oh, hammers are interesting. They're just very, very messy. Haha, I should have known better than to ask. There was a moment of hesitation in her eyes, but she saw his smile and then returned it. At another booth, Lizzie managed to toss every single ring onto the furthest pins. That won her a giant stuffed bear, which she just laughed at and gave to him to hold. For a while, he was having a great time, but then, still carrying the bear, he heard an unpleasant snicker. Are you fucking serious? You two came here to play around with stuffed animals? One of their classmates was there with his girlfriend, pawing at her chest while she giggled and swatted at his hands. They both leered at John and Lizzie holding hands. I mean, what are you, 12? Once taunt may have bothered him, but now John didn't care. He didn't even have any despair to prove that his friend was wrong. When he thought about everything he had been through with Lizzie and felt her squeeze his hand, he just didn't care. Come on, let's ditch these losers. His classmate girlfriend led them away, and John didn't really care about that either. When he gave Lizzie a smile, though, she seemed a little irk. What? Irk? You can just ignore them now, you know? Yes, but that won't be satisfying. Come on this way. She dragged him into a narrow alleyway between two stalls. A little way down there was a closed-off space in between several of the temporary stalls. Surrounded on three sides, and the sound of the affair seemed softer. He became very aware of how alone they were as Lizzie slid off her jacket. You want to do something not childish at all? Yes, I think I do. I know I can be a difficult girlfriend sometimes, but I want to show you that I can be nice too. He leaned back against the wall, needing a moment to catch his breath. Lizzie seems to have no trouble fixing her shirt, and then rising to give him a hug. Wow, that felt amazing. Oh my god. Good, I liked it too. Maybe we can do more of this sometime. The cold air forced him to step away from her soon and zip up his pants. Still, he felt warm, and not just in a sexual way. Soon they headed back out of the alley. John felt like everyone must have noticed, but no one even looked at them. Actually, things outside seemed different. He frowned and glanced at Lizzie, who paused for a moment, then nodded. Is something wrong? The sound in the distance aren't normal. There's too much tension. As soon as she said he realized that she was right. It didn't sound like people talking and having fun. They were upset about something. Without needing to discuss it, they headed towards the source of the commotion. Soon they arrived at a densely packed group of people clustered around a line of police tape. He could see a few cops moving within it, and spinning lights lit the entire scene in strange colours, but he couldn't tell what had happened. Lizzie shook her head, muttering something to herself, not sure how to help her. John found a familiar face in the crowd and tapped her shoulder. "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh God, it's horrible. Someone from our school was killed." "What? Who?" "His face was taken off entirely. They're still trying to identify him." "Oh shit, do they know who it was? Who did it?" "They say it. I can't believe this, but they said it was some girl from our school. She stabbed 2 of the police officers, like with a knife. They had to be rushed to the hospital." "What?" "Whoa, what about her?" "They shot her. Seriously." "Or at least that's what I heard. I just got here in time to see the body before they covered it up, but I didn't see the violent part." "I see." He wanted to back away in any case, but Lizzie was tugging his arm. John nodded a quick goodbye and let her drag him in front, away from the crowd. "John." "Lizzie, do you know something about this?" "You know it wasn't me, right? You trust me, don't you?" "I'm not worried about that. You were with me the entire time, but do you know something?" "There was another girl. Not like me, but similar." "Oh shit. In our school? Really?" "Her mother knew Abby. They got kicked out of Co-Tech program together. For the same reasons? Being pregnant?" "Oh, you've got to be kidding me." "I never liked her. We never really spoke, but I think she could have been capable of this." "Then what do we do?" "I think we should go. Stay away from this." "I'm not arguing with you there." She went with him to his door and kissed her goodbye. "Good night." "What? Hold on, what?" Let me just try. Okay. She went with him to his door and kissed her goodnight. And he kissed her goodnight. But they both knew that things hadn't been entirely settled. Not yet. He tried to watch the news, but it was all meaningless speculations about what could have caused the girl to murder her boyfriend so brutally. He had to turn it off after only a few minutes. Though there were still more questions. When he went to bed, he found they slipped away from him instead. He thought about Lizzie's happy face during their date and fell asleep smiling. The next morning, John woke up feeling the best he felt in a long time because he got laid. He had to remain himself the most people would be in the morning over the 2 murders the night before. Okay. The school had the flag at half-mast and a class was cancelled so they could have a special assembly about the incident. It meant basically nothing to him and to most of the other students as well. It seemed to have shaken everyone else to the core, but John still felt good. Maybe that meant something was wrong with him, but he didn't really care. He felt like he and Lizzie and him, it should be. It felt like Lizzie and him, and he, yeah. It felt like Lizzie and he were even closer than before. But when she arrived, there was a strange look on her face. "John, something is wrong. Someone wants to take you away from me." "Oh, Jesus. Lizzie, are you feeling well? Please, we need to run away together, or we won't have another chance." It seems like she had become more unstable, and what she was saying must have been her paranoia yet. She seemed strangely intense about the whole thing. Just run away? How would that even work? I've made plans. We could do it, I'm sure. As serious as she sounded, perhaps this was necessary for her to stay stable, but doing something like that wild, out of nowhere, after everything that has happened to them, could he? Would that just make her even worse? Fuck it. Where would we go? Won't that just attract attention? No, I'm prepared. We can say the murder made us want to transfer, then we go away and live safe from all this. If you say so, then I trust you. Then we need to get away from here, far, far away. That very day, Lizzie arranged everything, pulling him out of school and apparently faking the permission slips. She seemed in earnest, madly jealous. What? Madly jealous? As if a woman would sweep in at any moment and take him away. John went along with her in a daze. Shocked by how fast it happened, Lizzie told him to say the murder had shaken him up too much, wouldn't let him see anyone. Miss Smith, other students were also shell-shocked, so it didn't raise too much attention. But when they left town, in a car with supplies Lizzie had prepared, John almost felt like someone was following them. Was Lizzie paranoia just rubbing off on him? He told himself it had to be that, because eventually the feeling vanished. They moved away, finished school, found new lives. For years afterwards, John wondered about that moment. Had he made the right choice to support Lizzie, or had he just encouraged her unnecessary paranoia? Maybe it didn't matter at all. Yet somehow he could make himself believe that perhaps in another life things could have gone differently. Occasionally he wondered why Lizzie still seemed so nervous about the entire thing. When he asked, she just told him that it didn't matter anymore. They were safe. Yeah. As the years passed, she began to calm down. She still had days where she needed him to hold her tight, just like he had days when he needed her support. Despite everything, they were a normal couple. After they were married, oh jeez, Lizzie softened again. His co-workers told him he was lucky to have such a beautiful, devoted wife, and he was. He just had to pretend that he was the one with the enormous collections of nice. End. There is another path. Wow. Okay. Happy ending. Yay. Well, that's been Crimson Grey. I don't know if I should try to get the other endings. I didn't really get any of the other endings for My Life as a Maiden. But maybe I should get some other endings. But anyway, or just play the next game and then worry about getting endings at another time. Well, anyway, I've been your main man, Aaron Paradise. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment and share all that fancy stuff, and I shall see you in a different episode. Thank you and goodbye. Oh, gee. Oh, really? 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 Those all the pictures? Huh? Whatever.